solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the NCAA and Westwood One is strictly prohibited. Again, the winner will face Florida Atlantic in one side of the bracket on Saturday. And then UConn awaits the arrival of either Miami or Texas in the second game.
No matter where this one goes here in the last 30 seconds, you got to give flowers to this Aztecs defense. It's their identity.
Whoa.
It's what's gotten them here. Two of the most explosive offenses in the country they faced here this weekend. In Alabama, took away the three-point line, took away Brandon Miller. In Creighton, took away the three-point line again here today. Made a play in the 50s and also forced Kalkbrenner into a limited second half to get them to this point right now. Can they continue to defend? Can they take care of the basketball? Can they get a clean look here?
How about 103 points in the paint for San Diego State in this tournament alone? 36 of them today. 56-44. There's 33.7 on the game clock, 30 on the shot clock. Give me an idea of what you're thinking if you're Greg McDermott on how you're going to defend San Diego State, who will have the ball.
They're going to try and force a bunch of doubles in here, but then they're ultimately going to have to foul. Problem is they have a couple more fouls to give here,
right.
So you're going to foul one early on, and you're ultimately going to have to foul again. You cannot defend through the clock with only 3-second discrepancy here.
All right, so Joe Lindsay, the referee, the officiating crew, Joe Lindsay, Lee Cassell, Michael Irving, they're over on the scorer's table. They're looking at something through the replay.
It could be clock.
I think it has to be clock at this point, just to kind of make sure.
Millisecond matters.
Yeah, every tick. And you mentioned the defense for San Diego State. So think about this. Last year, the defense allowed 58 points per game. This year, 63 points per game. But in this tournament, they have clamped it down even more. In the last 4 games, they've allowed 57, 57, 52, and 64. And today, they've allowed 54 to the Creighton Blue Jays.
Now, what's fascinating here is it's a 4-second difference.
And they did adjust the clock, by the way.
They did give them a
33.7 to 34.2.
It's still not enough to me to defend through the clock. I think a 4-second, maybe 5-second now, they could. I mean, you could defend through this thing, get a timeout, and then you feel like you have maybe 5 seconds to get a look. It'll all depend on how this sequence plays out and where they have them defensively here.
Well, the Aztecs will inbound the basketball in front of the Creighton bench. Seiko will inbound, trying to find somebody open, and he uses a timeout. I think he was starting to panic a little bit. He had the ability to use the timeout. He had 2 left, so it's down to 1. Creighton has 2, by the way. And I think a point that Jordan made, which is important to note, Creighton only has 5 team fouls. So they're probably going to foul at some point.
They're going to foul the early one, I would imagine. But you still want to see if you can apply pressure and generate a turnover. I mean, San Diego State had some scary moments 2 sleeps ago, late with the ball pressure to secure that win versus Alabama. So you're going to try and get them in some pressure positions before you elect to foul.
You know, there's a little deja vu going on here with this game compared to last year's game in the NCAA tournament. So they met in Fort Worth. San Diego State led by 14 in the first half. That's a little different from today. They led by 9 with 2.5 left. And then the Aztecs committed 4 turnovers and missed a late free throw to then put it into overtime. Bradley missed the free throw, and he said it lived with him for the entire summer. All right, so here we go. After the timeout, they inch even farther down in front of the Creighton bench. Seiko inbounding to Parrish. Oh, man, he threw it over his head. It's picked up by Shireman, who lays it in, and we're tied at 56. That is incredible. Just put too much on the pass, and Shireman was there to retrieve it and lay it in. 29 seconds left, and San Diego State's about to use the timeouts.
They're going to foul late in the shot clock here, this Creighton team. They're going to foul probably at around 8 seconds.
All right, so now Dutcher says don't use the timeout. They're going to wind it down. 2-second difference, shot clock, game clock.
They're going to disrupt this. They're going to foul.
And here we go. Butler is fouled up top. Alexander fouls him. You will never find in the history of college basketball a pass like that with the final 4 on the line.
Shireman just saw it going airborne, didn't try to get tied up with the Aztecs player, and decided to just let it loft and go underneath. Crafty play to generate the steal.
Holy cow. And now a timeout called with the game tied at 56 and 6.7 to play here in the second half. Could we have overtime between these two for a second straight year?
Absolutely remarkable. End of game, pressure, bust, pipes. We see it all the time in this tournament that always manufactures moments. Now you got 6 seconds left. Butler's had great success coming off the ball screen. He leads the way with 18. He's a physical guy. Do you want that physical guard in Butler? Or do you want the low center of gravity, explosive Trammell, who has 11, who had 21 on Friday? There's 2 different ways to look at this one, but both of those guards are your best options with the basketball off of pick and roll. Creighton will no longer foul. A foul puts it in the bonus. They had that late foul to give them 6 seconds to operate as opposed to a full clock.
And by the way, just to assess who's on the floor, there's no Matt Bradley, the leading scorer for the San Diego State Aztecs. His head is down. He's just hoping right now for overtime or a win by one of his teammates.
He's 1 of 8. He made some plays late 2 days ago, but they feel better about the guards on the floor.
And now a timeout called by Creighton with this cat and mouse. Creighton's down to 1 timeout. San Diego State has no timeouts left. We're tied at 56 with 6.7 to play here in the second half for a chance to move on to the Final Four in Houston.
I like Butler's chances with the ball in his hands, and here's why, T-Mac. He's had an opportunity several times here. He's generated opportunities to get downhill. He's your more physical guard. Him getting to the rim, even if it's off the bounce, is a bonus whistle. So he'll go to the free throw line for a scoring opportunity. Trammell not as physical, quicker, yes, but now any violation is a scoring opportunity for the free throw line. Give me your more physical guard with the basketball in Butler.
Yeah, by the way, yesterday's games to go to the Final Four, the Kansas State FAU game was fabulous, and it came down to the wire. And Kansas State did not get a shot off. The Gonzaga-UConn game, well, it was a blowout. Let's face it. It was a surprising blowout, and UConn controlled it. This one has been phenomenal on every set of the stage.
Well, living in Connecticut, a great state that I've enjoyed for the last 4 years, there's a lot of raging going on there with how the Huskies have performed through this tournament. Who will join them in Houston? We'll see.
All right, so here we go. 6.7 to play. The ball will be inbounded on the near sideline, about 20 feet from us. Butler will inbound the basketball. Trammell, Arop, Ledee, and Parrish are the 5 on the floor for San Diego State. Kaluma will defend the inbound. Lee Cassell, the official, gives it to Butler. Butler looking for somebody to get open. Butler, no timeouts left. Gets it into Arop. 5 seconds left. Trammell, 3 seconds left. Trammell way away from the basket. Pulls up for the free throw line. Shot is no good. Whistle blows, though. There's a foul, possibly. No time left on the clock. Lee Cassell blew the whistle, and we may have free throws to send San Diego State to the Final Four. Did Nembhard foul as the shot went up?
Yes, the left hand was guiding him along. It's an unfortunate whistle. It's the right one. Nembhard got beat. He tried to block the shot with his dominant right hand. There was no contact there, but his left guide hand was pushing Trammell towards the rim.
Oh,
the
man.
fans don't like it. It's a foul.
It's the right call.
You would like him to let him play through. I get that. But textbook, you've got to call it, not worrying about the situation, and call the foul as you would in any part of the game, and it is a foul.
All right, so the officials were also looking to see if the shot went off before, or the foul occurred before the clock went to 0. Greg McDermott is hot. Lee Cassell went over toward midcourt and just said, I saw a foul. I called it. There's going to be 1.2 left on the clock. That's important after these free throws. And Darion Trammell will go to the free throw line with none of his teammates along the lane. Creighton obviously will have people there.
T-Mac, the left hand did push him.
It did
push him with momentum.
It did.
You could easily have it a no call. I get it. And say, oh, the moment. But that's not how you officiate. You have to blow the whistle. I would have been okay with the no call, but it was a foul.
So this is a 2-shot foul. Remember, Trammell was at Seattle U last year when San Diego State lost to Creighton in overtime in the first round. He said he watched that game, put his name into the transfer portal the day before, and then was contacted by San Diego State a week later. A timeout is called by Creighton. Greg McDermott is still hot with Lee Cassell. And Lee, very calm, to his credit. He's very calm, walks away after explaining that he saw a foul and had to call it. And let's go back to the free throws for Trammell. Trammell said when he arrived on campus at San Diego State, he said he felt the pain of that first round loss from talking to the players. And he said it lingered throughout the summer. And eventually they worked to get through it. Pretty amazing.
And here we are. And what's difficult is people are going to be torn on this whistle. We'll see what happens from it. It's easy to say you can't call that not in that moment, but there was contact.
All right, so no timeouts for either team. 1.2 left on the clock. Trammell will set up at the free throw line. 74% from the free throw line for the year. Dribbles twice, now a third time. Twirls the basketball. Takes a breath, lets it go. No good. And now Shireman is trying to get his fans on their feet. Greg McDermott just reminded his team there are no timeouts left. Trammell's second shot for the lead and possibly a trip to Houston. Right-handed shot up and good. Nothing but net. 57-56 San Diego State. Shireman will inbound. He's got to get the ball back, right, at some point?
Absolutely. You got to get a baseball pass here. It'll probably be a catch at midcourt. Maybe another guy action off of it to catch and get a clean look.
Shireman on the baseline to our right. He's a left-handed thrower. Sets up. Looking like a quarterback. 1.2 to play. Throws it up for grabs. Kaluma has it tipped out of bounds. No time left. San Diego State celebrating for a moment, but Lee Cassell says, hold on a second. Hold on. We're going to look to see when the ball goes out of bounds, if there's any time left, and who touched it last.
Yeah, you got to decide a few things. Who's the ball off of, and you can review that. You're in the window. And also how much time is left. As I'm looking at the replay, there will be at least
0.2, right?
Yeah. Now the question becomes, whose basketball is it?
And by the way, if they looked at Shireman inbounding the basketball,
his foot was on the line,
his foot was on the line.
It should have been a violation on the delivery, quite possibly.
Yes. Well, we think, and we're just speculating now, 0.2 will be left on the clock. So we'll wait and see. The ball was tipped by Arop and Kaluma. I think it's Arop who touched it last.
And the ruling on the floor was?
I believe the ruling on the floor was that it would be Creighton's basketball. So the ball lands at 0.2, or 0.3 actually.
Yes, which is time to get a tip.
That's where they connect with the March Madness logo on the backboard. I think that's quite possibly could be 0.3 they put on the clock. Because it's wherever it touches something out of bounds.
This is such a tough call because my eyes, T-Mac, on several replays looks to me like it's off of Creighton.
Do you think so? So I'm sitting there looking at the clock, but then you look at the other
much
part.
to absorb here.
How about that?
I don't even know if the Creighton basketball team will get another chance at this.
Yeah.
This might be San Diego State basketball. They will spend an eternity trying to get this right at the monitor.
They have to.
With what's on the line.
Well, we keep looking at the replays, as I'm sure everybody else is. You know what? I think you're right. I think Kaluma from Creighton, his hand dragged on the basketball and went out of bounds. Greg McDermott is still working with Lee Cassell, and it's probably beyond the foul call that led to the free throw that gave San Diego State the lead. I think he wanted a foul on the toss to the baseline. Boy, Greg is really hot right now. And Lee Cassell is giving him all the time in the world. In some ways, Lee probably could just walk away and go to the other baseline, but he's being
respectful.
He's giving him an ear.
I mean, he understands what this means to both coaches, both programs, both sets of players. You never want to be the conversation at the end of the game, but sometimes it's unavoidable in that profession. Lee Cassell has done a great job. He's been in, 15 NCAA tournaments? He's earned the right to be here, but a bang-bang call that will be discussed for a very long time.
Yes.
Do you blow that whistle on a Trammell floater, or with this game being as great as it is, do you look the other way?
And now Greg McDermott is hot at Dan Gavin, who is the vice president of men's basketball for the NCAA. He's on the far side of the floor, right near the Creighton bench. And now Greg McDermott asks for Michael Irving.
And they
come
might,
over.
This another thing to review here is it could be
that he was
stepped
inbounds
out of bounds
he stepped inbounds on the pass, which I really think he did. Obviously, we're 75 feet away, so we can't see it live. But looking at replay, it looked like his foot might have been inbounds. And the celebration for San Diego State on the right side lets everybody know that they are not even going to continue this ball game. It is over. The San Diego State Aztecs, for the first time in program history, will head to the Final Four. They will take on FAU in Houston, and they let everybody know that defense does travel. A huge free throw from Darion Trammell in the waning seconds of this game has given San Diego State a 1-point win, 57-56. And they will go on to the Final Four, and their fans are celebrating. What a wacky way to end this amazing Elite Eight game. The Aztecs for a year thought about their loss last season to the Creighton Blue Jays. They don't have to think about it anymore.
The emotions, raw. It's tough to watch. It's exciting, obviously, for the Aztecs. We have no rooting interest. It's tough to watch because this game was great, and it came down to something like that.
Hey, give me an idea as to why they didn't put time on the clock there to allow it.
They believed that the time the ball hit the side, it wasn't .3, it was over. Unless the call was made on Shireman stepping out.
So maybe they look back also when they were looking at the Shireman pass that the clock did not start on time either.
Yes,
and thus went down to 0.
Because if Shireman would have stepped out, you would have had 1.2 still left on the clock. So it was a matter of when did the clock start. That .3 clearly mitigated. Time would have expired with the ball going out of bounds.
Pretty remarkable ball game as they get the staging set for the trophy presentation. The Werner ladder is under the basket to our right, and they'll celebrate there as well. The San Diego State fans, smiles all around. Their team celebrating to our right. And we are joined by a man with very soft hands because he just saved our stat monitor. It's Lamont Butler. First of all, congratulations. You got to give us an idea of how this all feels.
It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. It's hard to put into words. Man, the work we just put in throughout the year, and then it's finally showing, and we made it to the Final Four, and that's a dream come true.
Lamont, look around. Take a look behind you at your crowd who's shown up here in droves. You're from the Mountain West. You're not one of the Power 6 teams in college basketball. A lot of people don't spend their time talking about the Aztecs yet. Here you are. You've knocked off Alabama, explosive offense. You just knocked off this Creighton team. You're going to Houston. What does that feel like?
Like I said, it's hard to put into words, man. Man, it's really unbelievable, man. This is what I dreamed of since I was little, and I can't wait to get to Houston, man.
The identity for your group has been defense. It seems like it's carried the way through the season, through this tournament. Is that the blueprint for winning for this Aztecs group?
For sure. Defense and rebound and win championships, and that's what we're here to do. And we're going to keep that mentality throughout the rest of the tournament. And we're here to win, man. We're here to win.
All right, give me an idea as an athlete what the second shot was like by Darion, and then the waiting after the officials were looking at the replay at the end of the game.
It was nerve-wracking. For sure. You didn't know what they was going to call. You didn't know what was going to happen, and I'm happy we went our way today.
Did you say anything to Darion before he went to the free throw line?
I didn't say nothing. I knew he had it. So I just let him do what he got to do.
All right, well, Lamont, congratulations and enjoy the Final Four.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
That is Lamont Butler, who finished with 18 points. He had a big day today as the Aztecs will move on to take on Florida Atlantic in the Final Four. The first trip for San Diego State but not the first trip for Brian Dutcher, who went there as an assistant coach with Michigan. Pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible stuff. Guys like, think about Darion Tramel's path. And you said it right before the free throws. Kid goes to Seattle U at 5'10", and he's probably 5'8". Was overlooked by so many. Went to Seattle U, lit it up as a scorer, assumed a role for this team at San Diego State because he said he just wanted to win. He knew they played a grinding style. It wasn't going to be light up the scoreboard, but he wanted to play for a winning team. It endeared himself to the program, and then he comes out here and delivers the biggest free throw in program history.
The other part of it, too, is we asked him, did you think that you were under-recruited? He said, yes, I did feel like I was under-recruited and could play at this level. And obviously, he was able to do that. Well, the San Diego State Aztecs are celebrating to our right. Their head coach, Brian Dutcher, has been nice enough to join us here today. Dutch, first of all, congratulations.
I appreciate it, guys.
You've experienced this as an assistant coach. What is it like to experience it as a head coach?
I'm just happy for the kids. Like I said, I've had an opportunity. Coach Fisher was so good to me, and we went 3 times when we were at the University of Michigan. And it's fun to take a new group there to see first-time experiences. I'm so proud of the team. And like I always say, I just got to stay out of the way. March is for players, and I have a lot of good players.
Well, speaking of one of them, Darion Tramel, 5'10", overlooked by a ton. Goes to Seattle U. We were talking about before you arrived here, Coach. He makes the biggest free throw in program history. What kind of asset has he been to your program and through this tournament?
He's great. Darion, he was struggling scoring the ball. And then all of a sudden, he just decided the best way to get out of the slump was shoot it every time he got it. And I was good with it because they were going in. So Darion played himself out of a slump. He's playing with great swagger right now, and that's what March is for.
Coach, what do you make with the end of that game? One of the more anticlimactic finishes to a game that gets you to the Final Four. Just wacky, but you're on the right side of it.
Yeah, I went through 87 different scenarios because I had no timeouts. So if there's .4, here's what we're going to do. If it's .3, here's what we're going to do. If it's our ball, here's what we're going to do. If it's their ball, here's what we're going to do. And then we didn't have to do anything but celebrate. So we're grateful for that.
Grateful for that. Grateful for this opportunity. And Dutch, we really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, Brian Dutcher, the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, joining us here on the sidelines. Such a class individual and has been for so long. And listen, he learned a lot from Steve Fisher, but he's also implemented a whole lot into this program.
It's remarkable how composed he is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just with the way the game came down to the end, him being a head coach, taking San Diego State someplace they've never been before, the gauntlet and the journey of this. I've gone to a Sweet 16 as a player. This pales in comparison, and yet he's sitting here talking to us like they just won a Mountain West game in January.
Well, he just embraced his daughter, who's in tears right now. He embraces his wife right at the March Madness logo as the players are awaiting the chance to go up and cut down the nets here in Louisville. Let's check the final stats, sponsored by Scott's. If your yard needs some life, then you need Scott's Turf Builder. You just put it down once now and again in the summer to thicken your lawn and get it growing strong. Feed your lawn. Feed it. All right, we begin with San Diego State. Just 3 of 13 from beyond the arc, but they did have 36 points in the paint. Butler finished with 18 points. Tramel finished with 12. He was 1 for 2 from the free throw line. They were 4 for 6 overall. That's all they really needed. Menza finished with 8 points. On the flip side for Creighton, they had 3 scorers in double figures. Kalkbrenner finished with 17 and 6, and then 12 points apiece for Kaluma, who had 5 rebounds, and Shireman, who had 12 points and 9 rebounds. They had 9 3-pointers the other day, Jordan. They had 2 3-pointers here today.
Yeah, and that was also the way that this team in San Diego State was able to advance versus Alabama.
Yep.
They took away that 3-point line defensively. They have benchmark things in a game that they need to do defensively to advance. They've checked all those boxes, and that's why they're headed to Houston.
Well, the Aztecs and their fan base, and obviously the Creighton fans have already exited, but the San Diego State fans are still here, and it's almost half of the arena filled with red and black as they are about to get set to cut down the net. So the Aztecs climbing the ladder and are advancing to the Final Four, beating Creighton by a score of 57-56. As we look to our right, Coach Dutcher and his team, they're about to climb the Werner ladder and cut down the nets. Werner, the official ladder of NCAA March Madness and the official ladder of construction professionals everywhere. Reach new heights with Werner. The final score from Louisville. It's San Diego State 57, Creighton 56. you may never see a finish like this one. You're listening to the men's basketball tournament on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
When you bundle your renters and auto insurance with Progressive, you could save money, but it doesn't cover any terrible memories living rent-free in your head.
Remember when one of your best players got injured, but not like on a play or anything? He got injured celebrating a play, and it's not like it was a game-winning play or in the playoffs. And he was out the rest of the season because he was injured while celebrating? Yeah.
Sorry, we can't save you from that memory, but we could save you money bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Renters insurance and bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Spring is almost here, and you can make mealtime easy with HelloFresh. Not only does HelloFresh deliver great-tasting recipes to your door, new dietitian win options under 700 calories, and protein smart choices featuring 30 grams or more of protein make it easier than ever to stay on top of your wellness goals. Join in and sign up today for 60% off plus free shipping with code SCORE60 at HelloFresh.com/SCORE60. That's code SCORE60 at HelloFresh.com/SCORE60.
Great-looking uniforms are an expression of teamwork, confidence, and pride. Cintas can help make sure your team is dressed to perform their best every day. We offer workwear and apparel that's comfortable and durable with a modern fit. From work shirts and pants to polos and khakis to Oxfords or T-shirts. And it all comes with weekly laundry service and delivery right to you. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
To college athletes, the whole world looks like an opportunity. One to be seized, built upon, and made better. To push their sport further, to broaden their minds, to help communities they live in, and to inspire those who follow. Because to college athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do. Learn more at ncaa.org.
Furnished by the NCAA.
Back here in Louisville, as they continue to celebrate, the Aztecs, that is, continue to celebrate. They move on to take on Florida Atlantic in the Final Four this Saturday in Houston, Texas, the first in their program's history. It's time to select the player of the game, the one who delivered for the team. Sponsored by the United States Postal Service. Reinventing to deliver more value.